the human body is meant to move. It's really insane how evolution has kind of led modern humans to where we are today, where I don't even know the statistics or percentages, but it seems like over 85%, 89%, over 85% of all the people that you see in many places these days, they're fat, they're overweight, they have type 2 diabetes, and they're just weak. They're weak. And when I say weak, I'm talking about the psychology that drives that type of behavior. Justifications, excuses, delusion, denial. It's like they think they're going to live forever. But yet, human beings, we pretty much evolved as, the most dominant species on the planet, according to the best evidence available. I know a lot of people, they claim that evolution is a myth or something, but like pretty much every single other thing in science, if you actually understand science, there's no such thing as absolute proof or absolute truth, so you can't really prove either way. But we have plenty of fossil evidence and things like that that says otherwise. Nonetheless, point is, we're the most dominant apex predator on the planet. We hunted out all the megafauna to extinction, millions of years ago. The woolly mammoth and all those were hunted to extinction by humans. Traveled the world, pretty much done every single thing that every other species has not. Humans are pretty much designed to go long periods of time without food, and still be able to perform optimally through ketogenic metabolism induced by long-term energy scarcity. So another thing, humans were designed to be able to run other animals into exhaustion. Like if you look at hunter-gatherer societies, especially, I forgot the names of these people, but they're in Central America, I think. But they're a hunter-gatherer tribe that run 400 miles a day or something like that. Something crazy like that. I don't know exactly. But human beings are meant to be physically dominant, mentally dominant, the most dominant overall species on the planet. We're not meant to be slobs. We're not meant to be slobs. You just lay on the couch all day, sit in a cubicle all day. We're the most obese species on the planet now. Because everything's given to us now. We can literally live in a society where we get dopamine hits off of pixelized women, like guys who watch pornography. It's disgusting. Now, it's a very addictive drug, so there's no shame as long as you admit that you have an addiction. It's the ones who have all these justifications and delusions that allow them to stay stuck in that addiction of pornography, which makes them complacent, makes them weak, and prevents them from even experiencing 15% of their potential. It's disgusting. So, human beings, most human beings, they're, artificially fornicating with pixelized females on a screen. And they're getting that dopamine hit, and literally their brain is receiving it as if they're successfully procreating with these pixelated women on the screen. And then we have millions of people who report feeling lack of motivation, depression, lethargy, a lack of sex, a complete ruining of their sex drive from pornography addiction. I found that happens every time I watch pornography. It's disgusting. But point here is that's just one way that modern society is hijacking, the human brain and creating weaklings. Another one. Now we don't have to go and hunt and gather our food. Vegans, they can have their avocados, imported on a plane from Mexico or from Peru or something, which is horrible for the environment, by the way. Transportation actually makes up the majority of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States, whereas, animal agriculture only makes up 3%, something to that extent. Anyway, yeah, I mean, these vegans, I mean, everyone, we can just go to the damn supermarket and get our damn food from the supermarket. We don't have to actually go out and work for it now. And so, you know, the whole calories in versus calories out model, it stemmed from the theory, from the idea that in nature and human evolution, humans used to have to go out and expend energy by sprinting, by running and beating up an animal, or just by running an animal to exhaustion, like one of the leading foraging theories is. Speaking of, so we're expending all this energy, you know, chasing down our food, and then and then if we can get the animal and eat the animal, now we have energy. So there is always this intricate or this intimate relationship between calories expended versus calories consumed. At least that's what the, you know, calories in versus calories out model really came from an evolutionary perspective. And there are metabolic ward studies that back it up. But, you know, but now we don't have to go out and expend the energy to go and get our food. We can just go to the supermarket, drive in our car to the supermarket, and we can get in a motorized scooter, a motorized cart that they have at the store, and not expend any energy at all, sitting on our fat asses all the way to the food, to the checkout lane, and back home. Think about how weak people are. And then it's like, you know, that's a pretty big difference. You know, that's a significant difference. It's pathetic, really. It's really pathetic. And that's probably the number one reason why chronic disease rates have exploded over the last 200 years. And then, of course, you know, foolish vegans, they have the nerve to blame it on red meat and saturated fat, even though red meat intake has actually significantly decreased over the last 100 years, while chicken and other sources of protein and foods in the food supply, higher in linoleic acid, have increased directly in alignment with rates of diabetes and heart disease. And then, of course, you know, human beings, which, you know, this could be seen as a good thing to provide enough food for everyone, but we feed these animals, you know, the same foods that are killing off humans, these genetically modified, highly subsidized, mass-produced GMO soybeans, corn, and grain. And these animals get sick and they have to be pumped with antibiotics and things. And then it creates sick, obese, diabetic animals. Which, you know, how significant that is of an impact that might have on human health. If you remove carbohydrates, well, you know, it depends on what side of the zealotry you sit on. But point here is humans become weak. Very, very weak. You know, pornography stills a man's sex drive and motivation. Social media. We don't even have to go out and like socialize with humans. So, by the way, we actually do need to get the real thing of all of these things. We need to have some kind of human equivalent of hunting and gathering. And I can tell you, doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, I have an equivalent of some type of hunting or fighting, and I love it. It gives me a sense of fulfillment and euphoria unlike anything else. Running significantly decreases stress, and I believe it's directly due to the fact that it's emulating hunting and gathering, and whatever stress response you might have had as a hunter-gatherer was probably, fight or flight. Either you fight or you run or you freeze. Feeling anxiety and panic is the freeze response. How do you overcome that? You go for a run, you go for a sprint. There's a reason why exercise, vigorous exercise done properly, has been significantly, in intervention trials, been shown to relieve anxiety equal to or greater than pharmaceutical grade anti-anxiety medications. It's because we're meant to do such a thing. That's how human biology is designed. But people are like, oh no, like paleo diet and evolutionary health models, it's retarded. You're not a caveman anymore, blah, blah, blah. You're not a caveman anymore. Like, okay, but you're missing the point of what all of this is about. And if people just kind of like really tried this for like a month, tried living their life in accordance with, you know, the best idea that we can make about how a human being evolved to be, you'll find you feel so much better going for a run out in the sun in a green environment, actually hanging out with your friends and enjoying a great sense of belonging to a tribe. You know, like this addiction to politics and these, you know, like the fighting that people have, fighting over nutrition styles, fighting over religion, fighting over politics. The reason why these people are doing that is because it fulfills that need of tribalism. Like they need to feel like they belong to a tribe. And what did tribes do in, you know, human evolution? Tribal warfare. You know, and I see this, and whenever I see, you know, politics and political debates and these arguments on the internet, I now automatically write them off as tribalism, tribal warfare. It's not you logically, critically thinking, yada yada. It's you having an emotional knee-jerk reaction to an opposing tribe, and now you're trying to attack that tribe. Like, why else would like random strangers like spend spend 15 minutes? I mean, let's be realistic here. Writing paragraphs, like a whole essay, telling me why I'm stupid on one of my videos because they disagree with me. Oh, you are wrong. You're an idiot. You don't understand science. Blah blah blah. Like as if they, for some reason, their opinion is, you know, like they are so smart and so intelligent that they found the truth. And almost always these people don't have like an actual college education, and whether they do or not, they're presenting their opinion as truth rather than as an opinion. And they're spending a lot of their time and energy. Like, it takes a long time to write a well thought out YouTube comment. That's why I don't do it anymore. I honestly think that like March, April, earlier this year, I realized we're all fucking dumb, pretty much. And like dumb as in, you know, we all strongly believe in what we believe in, and I just don't feel like there's any benefit to arguing with a random stranger. I was noticing I was spending 30 minutes of my time replying to people's comments on my channel. So, and then of course it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere because it's tribalism. It's a tribal warfare. I don't care about, you know, defeating other people's tribes. But I do see a lot of like weakness and limitation in certain people's thinking, and I recognize that a lot of people, if they would think differently or if they could change their beliefs about certain things, then their life can improve. For example, I had a friend who like he's always talking about science and this and that, and like talking as if he knows the truth. But then when it comes down to it, he actually doesn't even read books about health, let alone absorb much information on it at all. And I'm like, hey man, you know, you should read at least the most prominent books to get a basic understanding of how it works. And then he's like, oh no, I don't like reading books. I'm like, oh, well, you know, why not? Oh, it's just, you know, I can't read books. It's hard. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just like every other skill, you know, but there's more benefits than absorbing information from books. There's, you know, just training the skill of focus, because when you discipline yourself to sit down and focus on nothing but the words on a page for, you know, multiple hours a day, you're training your brain to listen to you, to actually like do as you say. And, you know, simple-minded people, they don't understand that. They don't understand that they can actually train their brain and train their personality and mold it to their favor. Yeah, I mean, that, like, you know, telling yourself, oh, I don't like books, you know, I am not a book person. Like, that's a belief that if you changed, you could possibly benefit from. Like, I would hate to go my entire life, like, just never, like, reading, you know, exercise science textbooks, nutrition science textbooks, or whatever it might be. I mean, I could only imagine how hard it would be to go through college with that mentality. It'd be so much easier if you just say, you know, reading a book is a skill. But anyway, the point is, that's the only type of tribalism that's the only time I really even attempt or begin to engage in, you know, arguing with people or whatever, trying to change their belief, you know. But people get real pissy over stuff like that because I'm exposing weakness in them. Like, no, I don't need to read books. Like, no, I can't change. No, I can't change. Like, they're not angry at me for, you know, I'm not like doing anything harmful to them. They're angry because now they're like, I'm like showing them, hey, actually, if you just dedicated 30 minutes a day to read 10 pages every single day, you'll find reading a book becomes easier and easier. But anyway, yeah, so people are fucking weak, and that is another weakness, you know? Like, I hate people. Some people say. I hate people. You know, I'm just not good with people. Like, okay, but like, you should want to be good with people because, you know, having good social skills and being good with negotiations, with, you know, dealing with your coworkers and bosses, with your friends and things like that, it is a very viable life skill. Yeah, but, you know, people, I'm just not good with people, and people are shit, you know, people are just bad. Like, that's not actually, like, true. I mean, obviously, if you believe that, you're going to find evidence that it's true, and it's going to be constantly reinforced through the reticular activating system in the brain. But you don't have to believe that, and it's not actually the reality of things. Like, I mean, whatever. Someone who thinks that, they're not going to be able to really, like, see it the other way. But the point is, that's a weakness. That's a justification because they don't want to go through the effort and the pain and the suffering that it would take to actually develop their social skills. So they make justifications. Like, I'm just not a people person. I'm an introvert. I'm an empath. I'm an empath. Like, whenever I talk to someone, I just feel their pain. I can't walk into a room without feeling the anxious energy. Like, yeah, you're not some kind of spiritual snowflake. Okay, that's a subconscious trigger that probably stems from your childhood that you haven't dealt with, and it's coming up. It's this unconscious trigger that's coming up in response to your environment. Okay, like, you're not some kind of like empath or highly sensitive person who's sensitive to energy. Like, you're just sugarcoating a weakness you have, but you lack the ambition, the willpower, the discipline that it takes to actually overcome it. It's so much easier. It feels so much better to just, like, you know, to paint your weakness as some kind of like extravagant, you know, like sugar-coated positive attribute, which in reality it's only harming you. It's only holding you back. And you'd be so better off to just being brutally honest with yourself and understanding, like, actually, people don't suck. I just suck at dealing with people. There's maybe a reason why I've had trouble at my job over and over again. Maybe there's a reason why I think people suck. Maybe it's because, you know, the way I think about people, the way I approach people, the way I approach situations in my life is inadequate. It's ineffective. It's inefficient. And therefore I create less than optimal situations in my life and with people. You know, but it's a defense mechanism. Like, it's a bunch of delusion, justifications, and excuses that prevents them from overcoming it. And another sad thing is that a lot of society now, for some reason, the last decade, I don't know if it's just, maybe it's just the fact that now that we have internet, I'm seeing more of it, but it always existed, but it's just more exposure because of YouTube and stuff. But it seems like over the last decade, there's been a lot of like encouragement in society to encourage people to be weak. And one justification that a lot of guys have in regards to the pornography addiction that I mentioned earlier is that, you know, they're like, oh, I'm trying to prevent colon cancer or whatever. I'm trying to prevent, what was it, testicular cancer. Because it's been correlated, like, because somehow masturbation's been correlated with less testicular cancer. But tell me this, and population, based on population studies, okay, it's a correlation, it's not causation. How many guys in society actually do not jack off? Probably very little. So, I mean, who are those guys who are not jacking off and experiencing more testicular cancer? Maybe the reason why those people experience more testicular cancer, or maybe the reason why they're not jacking off is because they have testicular cancer. So they can't jack off because it hurts. I mean, the point is, though, it's just silly justifications people make. Like, you really don't need to spank the monkey in order to, like, prevent testicular cancer. But, you know, all sorts of weaknesses come up. They say, oh, like, no, I just get this, you know, uncontrollable urge if I don't do it. Like, dude, again, that's just, like, the worst thing you can say. That means you are extremely undisciplined. Like, you have no self-control. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. So anyway, I'm just going to leave you all with that. I've been making videos touching on all of these subjects separately, and it's just come out to be a mess of just, like, ideas and stuff that have not amounted to any clear destination. So if you guys like these kind of like more free-flow videos where I touch on a bunch of different things and try to make them sound like they're all about the same subject, let me know down in the comments, because these just come naturally and it's a lot easier for me to produce these types of videos on a regular basis, and they help me like get my mind together. So let me know if you like these. Leave your question, comments down below, and I'll talk to y'all next time.